Good morning. It is me, Pearl, and this is Tune In Tarot. And we are here to look at the energetic balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine aspects of self. Understanding that whatever state these energies are in, we can see those things reflected back to us in our material world. So we might be able to glean things about real people in our life from these readings, but really what we're looking at is our own energy. So if you're feeling like you want others to change their energy or shift their energy around you, you have to kind of go within and figure out how you are energetically treating yourself in such a way and shift that energy, and then that will be reflected back to you. So yesterday we had a crazy reading. If you didn't see it, I highly recommend going back and watching yesterday's reading because it was very uplifting and there was a lot of union, which is really indicating physical union. I did actually get contacted by someone I've done personal reading for before, and another individual who I have not met, but who watches my readings. And both of them said they've had some kind of communication or contact, positive communication or contact. So it's happening, which I'm taking heart from. That's very exciting. So let's start today with the divine masculine because he has most of his cards showing. The one he left hidden, though. I needed a drink. Okay, let's get going. So, top of the deck, overall headspace for divine masculine is something that was in his heart space yesterday. And it's back. Here it is in the headspace, temperance in reverse. So we have divine masculine who is working on his temperance, working on trusting in this energy of the balancing between the two halves of selves, and really understanding that this healing must take place for him to be able to go forward. He could be struggling with temperance right now. There was a feeling in his heart space yesterday that he might be struggling with it, or he could just be resisting it. This is a very difficult time of the year for temperance, specifically if your issue is alcohol. It is everywhere. It is plentiful. It is expected. So it could just be that he's just facing this energy a lot. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's fallen off the wagon, if he did, it is what it is. But he's understanding that he needs to trust in this energy from the divine, this angel energy, right? This healing energy that's doing the balancing, pouring the overflow back and forth into the two cups and helping to heal this aspect of self. This is also about higher level relationships, and it is also about 5D relationships. And there is a sense here that moving to the forefront of his mind is that he is himself wanting to come out of this 5D relationship with divine feminine. So it could be less about substance abuse really, and more about wanting to move from the ethereal plane into the material one. The reason I suspect there's some issues with temperance is because the niggling thought in the back of his mind, the Six of Wands, this victory, it's feeling a little bit elusive at the moment. He is not wanting to have a solo victory here. He is not wanting to have done all of this healing and, relied on all this temperance energy and then be alone, right? So there's that element there. But it's also just, I think, him being a little afraid. Will I be, how can I be assured of my victory over this temperance energy, right? My victory over the addiction energies that I've experienced throughout life. And I want to bring this victory to divine feminine, but until this healing is done, I know that I just kind of have to go it alone and make sure that I'm bringing her someone that's healed and whole. So that's the forefront and the back of the mind. And that's a divine masculine who's no longer being selfish, right? He's being really thoughtful. Like, it might be difficult to see that the victory is delayed or that he still needs to be in temperance. But remember, this is a divine masculine who's often engaged in Knight of Wands behavior, which is knowing that he's not ready and still coming in anyway. And so he's being really thoughtful and considerate at this point in time. And I feel that overall. I also wouldn't get too worried about whether or not he's coming. The next thing up for him, this is the card he kept hidden from me. the Five of Wands, and it's not in reverse. So he's got this impasse feeling, right? We're a bit stuck. But as I see the progression in his headspace, I don't feel that it's an energy that's impossible. And also, this is minor arcana. It's one of the suits. It's a 5. These are things of the world, mundane things that can be overcome. So there's this little bit of stuck energy here. It could also just be this sparring he's doing with divine feminine, really, where he's like, she's approaching him and he can't really respond. And so they're stuck in this energy of her communicating and him not being fully able to communicate entirely what he wants and what he desires, if at all, right? So there's that. Oh, the other reason why this Temperance card might suggest some addiction energy is that when I did the shuffle for the music, I got a Tom Waits song. I'm still using a Christmas playlist, and I got Christmas card from a hooker in Minneapolis. And there was definitely a lot of references in that to substance abuse, etc. And that was what was playing during the shuffling of the Divine Masculine. So still feeling like, he's kind of coming from this unhealthy place and being hopeful that he's healing and changing and being able to be ready to be able to come towards divine feminine, but needing to move past this 5 energy. And the clarifying card for this is why I'm saying don't get too worried about this little bit of sticky energy. The next card up is the Ace of Swords. Now, this is very good to see because this is a new idea. And so the interpretation that I'm having for this 5 of Wands card is the reason that he's been stuck is because he's been unwilling, unable to pick up this sword, which is the truth, directness, clarity, and something new, and behave differently than he's behaved in the past, right? And so he wants to cut away this energy of being stuck. He wants to cut away this impasse energy and get moving and not allow his fears about temperance to block his victory anymore, because he's heading towards his divine feminine, this 9 of Pentacles energy. But this card is in reverse because it's indicating that he's no longer being self-indulgent. Another reason why we might see him struggling with temperance, but not having left temperance energy. Because again, temperance doesn't even have to show up. If he's not in temperance at all, we don't even have to see it. When we see it, it's more that he's struggling with it. It's just something that he's carrying with him. And part of his addiction energy has been to the divine feminine, being self-indulgent, just expressing when he wants to. He's cutting that behavior away, and he's cutting away this attachment to the material where he's only focused on these coins and his abundance, and instead he's wanting to be able to now reward himself. And for him, that really means doing the following thing, which is why I'm not afraid of this 5 of Wands, because this is what's clarifying it. This is a big action, right? It's passion. It's everything that he wants to reveal to the divine feminine. And we have 2 aces here. So this is the offer, right? We've seen the Ace of Pentacles a lot. And now we're seeing this Ace of Wands again. And it's not in reverse because he's ready to take this big action and break up this impasse energy they've been in. And the reason why I feel he's ready to do that is because he's telling me so. I'm ready, right? I'm ready. This is the 4 of Cups. It is in reverse because he has done that meditation and contemplation. He filled up that cup. We saw that cup. The last few days, we saw the cup everywhere, filled up. And we're seeing this clarifying this Ace of Swords. He's ready to tell the truth. He's ready to be direct. He's ready to cut through the bullshit, to cut through this impasse energy they've had, to stop being self-indulgent, and to come towards his divine feminine, which is his wish. And we have the 8 of Wands. And it's upright. It is not being held up It is not about him receiving messages from her. It is about him sending messages to her swiftly, right? We have the impetus of this passionate gesture, this big action. We have I'm ready, and we have motion and momentum towards who? Divine feminine, right? But not in a self-indulgent way. And so you really do need to thank divine masculine for protecting you from himself when he hasn't been ready to come in. He's close, but he's still feeling in his heart space that he's not quite close enough, right? We still are seeing this King of Pentacles in reverse, and we would love to see this King of Pentacles upright. So he feels his foundation, he feels that he can provide, he feels that he can protect, he has built his kingdom, it's fertile, it's abundant, it's continuing to grow. We are really wanting to see that energy for him. But even showing up in its reversal, I really think that there is an aspect here, especially because it's showing up in his heart space, that we're seeing him release really the attachment to the material, because both of these cards are coming in reverse. So while he's not quite the King of Pentacles yet, he's not manifest in this relationship yet, he has not come forward and stated what it is that he wants and become physical in the 3D. He is trying to release this attachment to needing to have all of these material things in place, and instead trusting in his intuition. And so because he's not fully manifest yet, although we see him preparing to send messages about that, the niggling feeling is this Four of Swords energy. Y'all know he's being pretty silent for most of us. And he is feeling like he needs to ground and pray and really connect with the divine and seek guidance. And he needs to remain quiet and silent until he's fully ready to manifest, which he's getting close to. But it looks like even though he's not fully ready to manifest, that he's considering sending messages, which would be very nice. I think we would all be very excited about that. Ooh, it's happened again. I'm going to pull a card from the center because he's under feeling. Okay, all right. First card up. So he's not wanting to feel. I only had, oh wait, no, I did have 6 cards. One was hiding. All right, well, I was meant to pull the 7th one then. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I had 6 cards. First card up in the heart space is a union we like to see. 8 of Wands. So he's definitely feeling and thinking about sending these messages. He's feeling and thinking this motion, this momentum. And these are swift messages. These are not going to be held up any longer. And that is being emphasized. Also, this 8 of Wands, breaking up this 5 of Wands energy. And it was the first thought in his head was this 5 of Wands. And the last thought in his head is this 8 of Wands. He knows that these messages that bring that Ace of Swords and Ace of Wands to Divine Feminine, he knows that's going to break up this impasse energy that they've been in. And he's really ready to do that. Now, what's very interesting is what he's going to tap into in order to do that. Well, if it isn't the good old Knight of Wands energy that we just talked about, and it is clarifying this Ace of Swords. So what I'm seeing here is the truth that he wants to bring, the directness. He wants to do it swiftly. He feels the need to do this very swiftly because the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands really travel very fast. And we've got that 8 of Wands energy. So he's feeling like, okay, I just need to get this done. Like, I really need to get this done. I need to bring this truth in. And he's wanting to do that thing of throwing caution to the wind, tapping into the light traits of this aspect of himself and utilizing the skill that he has to just kind of like do it, to just be bold. But it's not a boldness that doesn't have this sword, this truth, this directness, this integrity to back it up. It's not clarifying just the wand. If it was clarifying just the wand, I'd be like, all right, I'm seeing some sexual energy here, and I don't know how healthy that is. but it's not. It's clarifying the truth, directness, and integrity. So he's wanting to just throw caution to the wind, tap into the light traits of that Knight of Wands, and bring this message to Divine Feminine. Now we have the Four of Wands. It is in reverse. And it is clarifying this Nine of Pentacles card, which is in reverse in his headspace. So he wants the sacred union. He definitely wants the sacred union. But he's definitely feeling, especially with that King of Pentacles energy in reverse, that he's not 100% ready to bring a foundation to the Divine Feminine. And it could be about his coins here, that he wanted to bring more abundance, and he's in his headspace trying to release his need for that so that he can just go ahead and throw caution to the wind and bring this message to her, even if the foundation isn't quite stable yet, because of his next feeling, which is the Empress, right? Now, it's also good to get this Empress card in reverse. The same kind of aspect that comes from the Emperor in reverse, which is that these are two leaders that are fixed, that are unmoving, right? They are just sitting there on their thrones and they command from their thrones. And when they get up from their thrones, that indicates that there is this motion. So we do see that he wants to take this emotion towards Divine Feminine. And that's supported because the Empress in reverse is clarifying this Ace of Wands. Now, I also feel, I don't know if you could hear the helicopter. It's very loud. I just wish they would get rid of the helicopters that look for bad people in my neighborhood, ... Anyway, this Ace of Wands, but I think it's an interesting energy, right? Of hovering around and searching and, right? I'm called to notice it for whatever reason. So I do think there's part of him that fears that he has been a dick, and that has kept him from fully being able to approach the Empress. And because, I mean, do I really need to explain that, right? So I think he wants to take action. He wants to send these messages. He feels that in not having done this, he has really blocked himself from being able to fully be with his Empress. The next card up, don't love it. Two of Pentacles. But it's clarifying this readiness. So what I'm really seeing is he thinks he's ready to make this choice that he feels he must make. And I'll show you what the choice is. And I'm happy about it. He hasn't done it yet, though. He's still weighing his options, right? He's still juggling, trying to have both things. It's also about that reciprocal energy, the back and forth between himself and Divine Feminine. He's doing this dance. And this is also keeping his Empress from being fully up his heart space. He's doing this dance around this choice that he needs to make, but he's ready in his headspace to counter that energy of his heart, which is kind of stuck in terms of making decisions. He's going to choose to come out of the Hermit energy. So he's been in isolation. He's done his soul searching. He's looked within, and what he's discovered is the card that I pulled out when I didn't need to pull it out, but I guess I needed to pull it out kind of card, and you'll see it in a second. But he's coming out of his isolation so that he can bring these messages swiftly to Divine Feminine. So this isn't something we're going to have to wait weeks and weeks for anymore. The energy that's here is this communication is coming, and it's coming fast. He's choosing to do this. He's choosing to come out of this isolation. And there's his Divine Feminine. This is the card I pulled out in the middle of the deck, Strength. He is tapping into this energy that she has. He is trusting in the strength of this union. Oh, I see you there, Ash. Good morning. He is really working to call on this strength to help him come out of this Hermit energy and bring these messages, which for him is really difficult to do. It's difficult for him to express in general. It is difficult for him to come out of hermit energy because he's more comfortable in it. So he's really calling on that inner strength that he has and using divine feminine strength as a model for his own. All right, let's head over to divine feminine side. Alrighty. Oh my God. I'm in the same position. Okay. I hate the sound of the helicopter. I feel like it's so stressful. I cannot wait to move out of the inner city, and I shall never live in the inner city ever, 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 ever again if I can help it. So help me God. Okay. Divine feminine. Top of the deck, overall headspace for her is this Fool energy in reverse. So she's doing a little bit of worrying about feeling a little foolish. She's also wanting that new beginning and sensing that it's almost here, but not quite here yet. And it is very tantalizing. And she's really concerned that she might have taken this leap a bit too soon, I think. Like it just kind of threw herself into this, and now she's feeling like, did I make a mistake? So she's starting to think about that, starting to have fears in her headspace, and this is the forefront of her mind. She's like, okay, I thought a new beginning was coming, but I don't see it. So like, am I stupid? Am I an idiot? You know, because we say these really nice things to ourselves in our headspace. Love that for us. Just imagine if you said the things you say to yourself to your best friend. So as you're having your inner dialogue throughout the day, I would love for you to, whenever you think something that's, you know, am I an idiot? I want you to pretend that you're talking to your child or your best friend or your, you know, or your like little sibling, like whatever it is that you can imagine that would be, you would never say. Like, would you really say to your best friend, like, are you a fucking idiot? I mean, maybe you would say that to your best friend. Your best friend should question that relationship because that's pretty toxic. But we typically don't talk to our friends and our relations with the same sort of intense hatred that we allow to seep in our own self-talk. That's an aside, but she is feeling that. I can hear those thoughts like, I'm stupid, like I'm an idiot for having taken this leap, and I should have been more cautious, and I need to not be foolish because of the niggling thoughts in the back of my mind, fear and anxiety that I'm having in regards to this union. She's also very much in the back of her mind, kind of staying here in that 5D energy. But in this card, we see just a divine feminine on her own, alone there. And so it's a lonely kind of an energy. It's like, yeah, I have this connection and I can feel it, and I'm probably having telepathic communication, and I'm having, you know, all kinds of these like mystical, subconscious dream space experiences, and I'm having visions, and I'm really tapping into the moon energy, the goddess moon energy. But I'm alone. So am I foolish because I've retreated into this dream space and maybe left out real practical reality? And I want a new beginning, not to remain in this dream space. And look at the connection between those two cliffs, or whatever you want to consider these. They look like ice even. But when I move the cards like that, it's the same one, right? And so there's this definite connection there that she wants this new beginning. She no longer wants to be in this old energy of the 5D. The pressure also from the helicopter, like the physical pressure, is very distracting because you can feel like it's so annoying. I'm sorry to keep talking about it, but it's very distracting to me right now. First thing on her mind is this 7 of Cups energy, and it is in reverse. And so we don't have her in a state of confusion. We don't have her in a state of being overwhelmed right now. She's actually feeling like she's got a handle on all of these things and all of these options, and that she's made her choice. And I like to see the choice that she's made. The choice that she's made is herself. She's chosen herself. The Queen of Pentacles upright today. We have a match for the king, although he's not feeling like he's fully in his King of Pentacles energy in the upright. But these two were here yesterday and they're here today, and it's not a coincidence because they're coming into physical union. And so it's no surprise to see the physical 3D king and queen here in the spread again. But they're here again today. And Divine Feminine, that in that Seven of Cups energy, has chosen herself. She's chosen to build her foundation, to tap into her creativity, her fertility, and abundance. And she's choosing to hold on to this pearl of wisdom here, these core beliefs that she has about this union and about her own power and about the union inside of self. This one pearl is both the masculine and feminine energies united together there in her, at her core, in her center. And she's choosing to build this Queen of Pentacles energy. And that is clear by this card as well. Work, work, work. Working on the self, working on her craft, really getting her pentacles in order, not relying on Divine Masculine to provide this, but choosing to provide for herself and focus on herself. And it's hard to do right now because she is dealing with this guy, the devil. All right? The devil. The devil is clarifying the Seven of Cups energy. That's pouring out the poison of the addiction, right? Now, how interesting to see Divine Feminine in her headspace dealing with obsessive thoughts, codependency, worrying about codependency, addiction energy, and see Divine Masculine struggling with his temperance energy. These are very united, right? These are very united cards. We need temperance to counter this devil. So he's working on it. And so is she, really. She's focusing on herself and her craft because she knows her tendency to go into this devil energy and get focused on the physical union and to want it, want it, want it. And by wanting it so much, push it away. And she's really working on not, traveling deep into that heart of that addiction and numbing herself out and letting herself just kind of worry and get focused on all these demons, right? So to counter this, she's doing the same exact thing that Divine Masculine is doing. And this is in his heart space. So that's in his feminine intuitive energy. And this is in her head space, which is her masculine analytical energy. Silence. Now, there's a couple reasons for this devil to be here, right? This Divine Masculine silence is what causes this devil energy for her because she doesn't know what is happening. So she's like, I don't know. Is he going to come now? Is he going to talk to me? Is he going to send me messages? I mean, like, I have no idea. And like, I can't think about it because I need to focus on myself and I need to focus on my work and I have to stop thinking about it, but I can't stop thinking about it. And it's like being really sad. No, I'm not going to be sad. I'm going to be happy. I'm not going to be sad. I'm going to be happy, right? The silence is really what triggers that devil energy inside of her, the worries, the fears of that moon card, the anxiety, the unknown. Divine Masculine is aware of that. He's aware of that. That is why he wants to throw caution to the wind, despite this imbalance he's feeling and this temperance energy, and just come in and give these messages as quickly as possible because he doesn't want his Divine Feminine to be suffering in silence, and she is. This is suffering, right? The devil causes suffering. So Divine Feminine is countering that devil energy with the silence and the prayer that this card indicates. And she's grounding herself with her thoughts. She's grounding herself with the idea that this is her core and this is her truth. And she's praying to be able to establish and maintain this energy for herself and not depend on, and I can't make it up, the Emperor. And we're not seeing the Emperor card in reverse today because it's about his stubbornness and rigidity and controlling. Nope. We're seeing this in her headspace today because she is wanting to not be swayed from her Queen of Pentacles energy, she is not wanting to count on the Emperor to provide for her. She wants to provide for herself. She's also afraid that she can't. So she's praying for that strength that she needs and that perspective that will allow her to understand that she is this queen. She knows she is, but she's just having a hard time believing it. And if she can't believe in herself as the Queen of Pentacles, and if she can't believe in her own Emperor energy, she's got to pray for that enlightenment that will show that to her. Now, here they both are in the spread, the Emperor and the Empress, and they're in the opposite parts of opposite spaces. This is in the head space, the divine masculine head space. This is in the heart space, the divine feminine heart space, for divine masculine and for divine feminine, right? So they are matched. This is them, and we have them here, and these cards don't have to show up, but they did. So this physical union, we can taste it. And if we can battle these fears and really, really do what it is that divine feminine knows she has to do, and send these messages and get these truths. Divine masculine, the moment you send these messages with truth in them to the divine feminine, whether it's a text message or whatever, the moment you send that, the relief that will come over the divine feminine will be unbelievable. I just watched Elf last night with my family, and one of my favorite Christmas movies. And the scene in the end when there's enough Christmas spirit for the sleigh to fly. And it's like you watch this happen slowly. Like one person starts singing, and then like the belief in Santa starts to pick up a little bit. And then another person starts singing, another person, and finally they're all singing. And when they're all singing and they're all really willing this Christmas spirit to exist, suddenly Santa's sleigh flies over the top. And once the dad, finally sings along and joins in, like the biggest non-believer who's actually even seen Santa Claus and still not singing with everybody because he's afraid to express that belief. Once he is not afraid to express that belief anymore and he starts singing, the whole group of people that had been singing finally sees what they believed in. But they believed in it before they saw it. Nobody could see that sleigh. They had heard rumors about it. They thought it might be, it was just this hope that they had. And then they put all of that hope together and it filled them up. And then they could see what they believed in. And that is what's happening here, right? And when divine masculine finally expresses and starts singing along, divine feminine, the relief that will come over her, because she's been here in her hope. This is her hope. She's holding on to this core, this hope, right? As soon as he expresses, the relief will be incredible. He knows that. He knows it. All right, let's look at the heart space for divine feminine. Top of the deck, overall feeling for divine feminine, Two of Cups energy. She feels this reunion. She feels this coming together and breaking bread together and expressing. And this is what is clarifying, or I'm sorry, wrong card. This is what is clarifying the foolish energy of her headspace. So her heart is saying, do not be foolish. What you have done is not foolish. You don't have to feel like a fool for being in love. That is not a foolish feeling. That's a beautiful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling. And it's true. It's a true feeling. You will have this Two of Cups energy. You can feel it. You know it's here. And if you didn't feel convinced, then I'm going to convince you by the niggling feeling in your heart space. The Sun. This is a major, major acknowledgement in your heart space of this happiness, this promise, this fulfillment, and the illumination that the sun brings. There's nothing brighter than the sun's light. And the sun allows you to see what it is that you believe in. So the niggling feeling in her heart space is she should feel happiness right now, not worry, not anxiety, not devil energy, but happiness, because her fulfillment, her spiritual fulfillment is here. It's already here because she already has this knowledge and she's already working on it. You are already in union in yourself. You see the physical union outside of yourself as you start to accept that you are in this union. We saw the union yesterday all over. There's union today too. There is already union, okay? First card up. Oh, the second card, I can't. First card up in her heart space is the Four of Cups. So this need for meditation and contemplation, right? And this Four of Cups is clarifying the Seven of Cups in reverse in her head. So she's not being overwhelmed by her feelings, although she is overfeeling today. We have 7 cards instead of 6, which is funny because I pulled that 7th card for Divine Masculine, but I didn't have to. But now because I did that, they're balanced. They're actually in union in their feelings. But so she's not overwhelmed by her feelings, and it's partially because she is doing this meditation, she is doing this work to connect, she is maintaining that filled cup. She's also pausing here for a moment to reflect, right? And needing to do that in her heart space. And of course, that Four of Cups is mirrored by the Divine Masculine. Divine Masculine is ready to come forward, right? Divine Feminine is ready to receive that cup. She is grounding herself to do so. The next card up, the Devil. And it's in reverse because while her head is freaked out by this devil energy and worried that she's being obsessive and worried about codependency and worried about, not being able to control her addictions maybe and all kinds of things associated with that, her heart space doesn't feel any of that. So we have right now a countering happening from head and heart. Normally we've got Divine Feminine using her thoughts to counter fears inside of her heart space. Today her heart space is helping her with her intuition. You are not in this devil energy. You have released it. It is precisely why you are the Queen of Pentacles now, because you are no longer feeling like you are chained to the material. You're chained to any specific manifestation. It has freed you as you've released this devil energy, and you don't have to be afraid. And the other thing is this Five of Pentacles energy in its reverse is clarifying this Eight of Pentacles. You are no longer in a lack mentality, and your heart is fully aware. Your head is fully aware. You're not in your lack mentality. You know that you have all of this abundance, the ability to create it, to not be stuck in this 5 energy, being left out in the cold anymore, being in feelings of lack. Your feelings of addiction and codependency and this devil energy is released. Your feelings about the 5 of Pentacles are released. Those are your biggest fears that you've carried with you this whole time. And both of them in your heart space are like, nope, don't feel it. Don't feel it, Divine Feminine. And no. Four of Swords. That's 3 Four of Swords. 3 cards. Not quite as impressive as yesterday, folks. That was crazy. But still, lots of union there. Okay? This Four of Swords energy, you are thinking in your head, I'm going to counter my devil energy with the Four of Swords. Your heart is like, damn well you are. You are going to counter this energy of this devil by, number 1, being quiet, staying silent. It is time, Divine Feminine, for you to zip it. No more talking about things you don't want. No more talking about devil energy. No more talking about your fears. No more speaking them into being. When you learn about exorcism, how even saying the name of a demon can call it. This is what your heart is telling you. Even saying the name of this demon can call it. Do you want a demon around you? I fucking don't. So I am being commanded by my heart space right now to be quiet. Now, this could be in regards to divine masculine. And you know what happens when you're quiet? Well, he usually starts talking. If you're talking over top of him, how's he going to say what he needs to say? It's time for you to remain silent. Let divine masculine do his work, throwing his caution to the wind, and come to you with a message. And pray for the death of these fears and anxieties. No more. These are not going to haunt you anymore. Next card up is the Page of Pentacles, and it is clarifying the Four of Swords. So the prayers in the silence that you're having, the reason why you are being silent is because you haven't received a big enough offer to give any kind of expression. Right now, your worthiness that comes from that Queen of Pentacles energy, it's not being honored right now. It is a very small, insignificant offer that you have been given. And you need a bigger offer that's more expressive, that's more in alignment, that's more reflective of your true worth. So until you see, you're going to assess the offers that you're getting from divine masculine. If he sends you a message and it's just like tiny, remain silent, because this offer must match your worth. And the Page of Pentacles offer, that doesn't match your worth. You're a queen. This should be the king, right? It's the page. It's too small. It's not ready. It's undercooked. It's underdeveloped. So you need to keep praying. You need to keep aligning. You need to keep going within, praying for what it is that you want. Don't focus too much on how it's not a big enough offer. Put that to the side and just focus on how you know that the offer that comes is going to match your worth. It's funny because I had a really strange night. I woke up at like 3:33. I couldn't go back to sleep. I actually got up and showered. I just wanted to like cleanse my energy and release. And then I got back into bed and I spent like from like 5:30 to 8:30, which is why I have kind of a later reading today, just sort of like kind of asleep and actually dreaming, but then also awake. And at one point in the night, in the morning, I guess, I thought that I sat up and checked my phone and that I had an actual message from my DM who doesn't communicate with me directly at all. And it was just like a one-line thing. And I was just like, oh, like, and I wasn't overly excited, but I was just like, okay, like I can work with that. I remember being like, okay, I don't even remember what the message said. But I thought it had really happened because it seemed like it really had happened. It was like a really strange thing. And so I woke up feeling like, oh yeah, didn't he like say something to me? And then like I went back to my phone and was like, no, that didn't happen. But the relief that I felt, it was so interesting because I immediately felt relieved. Like everything that I had been worried about, I was just like, oh, I don't have to worry. Like, it's fine. But I also wasn't like so excited. Like, oh my God, he sent me a message. It was just really matter of fact. It was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So it was a little disappointing to find out that that hadn't happened. But it was also this dream space, right? This 5D experience, this practicing of receiving an offer. And, you know, it was a small one. It wasn't big enough. It was just a one-line thing that was just kind of acknowledging, which honestly, I would be overjoyed if I got even a single acknowledgement, ... But my divine masculine is nowhere close to giving me anything that matches my worth. This is definitely, this is smaller than what I get. Honestly, if I got this, I would be like, hey, what do you know? So an interesting experience to have had. And also the feeling that when I got that message, I felt relieved. I knew everything was going to be okay. It didn't really change anything. Like, that's why I wasn't all that excited. Because I was like, oh, okay. Okay. And realizing that that's kind of what it's going to be like. Like, you feel like there's going to be this, you're going to be like, it's going to be like a gong being hit and your whole world's going to open up. But really, because you're already believing, when you're seeing it, it's just a confirmation. It's just a validation. It feels good, but then you're like, okay, next thing, please, right? The next card up is Page of Swords, and it's clarifying the Emperor in reverse. And so you are feeling that you would like this divine masculine who's giving you this Page of Pentacles offer. And remember, this is this part of yourself that's not bringing yourself a big enough offer. You want them to pick up that sword, which divine masculine seems to be willing to pick up today, and his Knight of Wands energy too. And you want him to be brave enough to wield it, whether he knows how to wield it or not. And while he may be afraid about where he's going, you want him to be brave enough to just try. And this is about yourself. It's about divine masculine, but it's also about yourself. You are ready to pick up the sword, even though your Emperor energy isn't fully developed, and just use that clarity and directness to figure out what you need to do, where you need to go. Even if you are uncertain, you're at that point now where your heart is really calling you to just be brave and just receive that Ace of Swords, even though you're not necessarily sure what to do with it, and just let it carry you to that new territory. And to emphasize that new territory, this extra card in your heart space, this Six of Swords, and it's in its reversal. So you have a little bit of resistance here. You need to, and this actually was in Divine Masculine's headspace upright yesterday, and he was really doing this, which was using this strife and struggle as a bridge to go from where he was to where he wants to be. And you have a little bit of resistance right now, but you need to use that sword that page brings. You need to bravely pick up that sword and allow your thoughts, right, to help you navigate these waters of emotions, to take you from where you are to where you want to be. You need to counter those thoughts you don't want with truth and clarity about what you do want, so that you can see, you can believe before you see, is how I want to say that. Okay, not too shabby. Let's look at Divine Masculine oracles. Again, hey, look, a reasonable number. I love this. I mean, I guess it means I don't spend as long with y'all, but it's much better that you don't need so much advice, the two of you. Oh, Divine Masculine, you've got to transform your base motives and goals into golden wisdom. If there's any issue with you right now, it's that this energy of the alchemist is in its shadow attributes, which is a misuse of the power and knowledge that come through spiritual practice. So you're getting this knowledge about your power, but you're misusing it in some way for personal gain, or not using the tools you have, something like that, because this is kind of a magician card as well. But you really need to transform these base motives, right, into this golden wisdom that you know you're gaining, which is, it can't be about divine feminine. It has to be about my transformation, my healing. It's also, interestingly, like there's this pouring of the elements back and forth, that same kind of resistance to this temperance energy. So you have this knowledge, you have this spiritual power, and you need to use it. Get into that golden wisdom and out of your base motives of just having this physical manifestation. But, sir, you are in the light attributes of the Prince energy, which is romantic charm and potential for power. So you are in a place where you are able to bring those flowers, bring your charm. You tap into the light traits of that Prince of Wands energy and head towards your divine feminine with these gifts you want to give her. All of your romantic charm is on 11 right now, so utilize that. Your guardian angel is here to help you feel that you will be triumphant. Yesterday, this card was for Divine Feminine. Today, this is for you. Now, we are getting a card that we get for you often, so I'm going to read it again. I can accept myself as a vibrational being. Once you begin to accept yourself as a vibrational being who attracts all things that come into your experience, once you understand the correlation between what you are thinking, feeling, and what you are receiving, you then hold the keys to get from wherever you are to wherever you want to be on all subjects. So, accept yourself as a vibrational being. Accept that correlation. What I'm thinking is what I'm receiving. What I'm feeling, thinking, that creates what I'm receiving. Really, really learn that lesson. Now we have mutable moon. Nothing is yet set in stone. And this is emphasized. So nothing is set in stone, right? It's mutable. It's subject to change. It's subject to the whims of your emotions and free will. And so your worries and your fears are not set in stone. And you have the opportunity, accepting yourself as a vibrational being, to shift your thoughts and feelings to be able to receive what it is that you desire. What lights you up, Divine Masculine? This is the Star Seed card. What lights you up? And this is star energy too. So this is your wish fulfillment. This is the Divine Feminine healing energy, pouring that water from the unconscious into the material. We know that Divine Feminine lights you up. We know that. But what else lights you up on this journey? Divine Feminine is almost a base motive for you. Not entirely, but almost. What else lights you up? Because your union, coming into union with her, allows for these other things to happen. Divine Feminine, you're in the shadow traits of the healer energy, which is taking advantage of those who need help or failing to care for oneself, as I do not see you as taking advantage of others. I feel that you are failing to care for oneself right now. And you need to call in the light, which is a passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, and spirit, and the ability to help transform pain into healing. So, call in that light. Repair your own body, mind, and spirit. Transform pain into healing. But you must do this by caring for oneself. So if you're not being as considerate for your own self right now, you're causing that energy to be reflected back to you. You are in the light attributes of the orphan child, which is independence based on learning to go it alone and conquering the fear of surviving. And I see that. This literally translates to me as learning the independence based on learning to go it alone and conquering the fear of surviving. That Five of Pentacles in reverse, that devil energy in reverse, about fearing that you can't be the Queen of Pentacles, that you can't have your own Emperor energy. You are really in the light attributes. This is being boosted for you right now. Expect a sign from above. Expect a sign from above today and trust the sign that you receive. Moods are indicators of my emotional set points. When you continue to focus on any thought, it becomes increasingly easy to continue to focus on it because the law of attraction is making more thoughts like it available to you. And so, emotionally speaking, you are developing a mood, or you are achieving a habitual vibrational groove, so to speak, or a set point. Okay, so when you continue to focus on thoughts that feel good, the law of attraction makes it increasingly easier to do so. When you continue to focus on thoughts that feel bad, the law of attraction makes it continually easy to do so. And that's why you feel like you can't control your thoughts, Because when you think of the one thought that you don't want to think about, and then you think, oh, I don't want to think about that. When you say that, the universe hears no exclusion. So let's say you're thinking about being lonely, and then you're thinking, oh, I don't want to think about being lonely. Then the divine only hears think about being lonely, and you keep thinking about that. And it's easier and easier and easier to spiral because you're attracting those thoughts. So when you are having thoughts, this is the work of meditation and Four of Cups. This is what you're doing when you're in your Four of Cups energy, when you're getting grounded and you're meditating. Your meditation, and you think, I don't want to be lonely. Instead of trying to control that thought with, I don't want to think about being lonely, you can think about, well, there are ways of not feeling lonely right now. I could call someone. I could FaceTime. I could watch a show that makes me feel like I'm part of the group of friends on the show. So you start to think about what you could do, not what you don't want to do. And you gently guide yourself away from those feelings of loneliness, right? That is how you can change your mood. And your mood is only an indication of what your emotional set point is. If you are in a bad mood, then you started out with some pattern of thought and attracted a bunch of thoughts, and you're in that vibrational groove. And to shift your mood, you have to do mood shifting activities, whatever those activities are for you, stress relief of some kind. Divine Feminine, have faith in your dreams. The only reason you're worried right now is because it's silent. And in the silence, you are alone. And you don't know what is going to happen. And so you start to doubt what you want to happen. If you were in the silence and maintained faith in your dreams, the silence couldn't shake you. But you're learning to go it alone, right? You're learning this is an uncomfortable place. This is stepping out of your comfort zone. And so it is scary. It is frightening there in that silence. But have faith in your dreams. You are birthing a new age, birthing new creations, and dreaming a new world into being. And that is what you are being brave about. Picking up those new ideas, bringing something new. And we are literally, cosmically birthing in a completely new phase of time, right? The age of Aquarius is coming, and we are birthing it. We're seeing the last labor pains of the two of you shifting into physical union. I give up. I give up this job. I don't really, but I kind of do. All right. You're in this stuff. You're in the light traits of the gambler, which is a willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. So this is the bottom of the deck for this union, okay? This isn't the card that I give up because of. You'll see the next card. And if y'all watch me, you're going to know my absolute pain. But right now, y'all are doing a good job of a willingness to follow your intuition even when others doubt you, because this is a crazy story. This is a crazy journey. Someday, I hope I'll get to reveal my journey to you all, and you'll be like, holy shit, that was crazy. I bet that was hard for you to believe. And I'll be like, yep, it was. That's why it took so long for it to happen. But you're doing a good job. You are trusting your intuition even when others are doubting you. It is a very good thing. This is the next card up. I don't want to say anything about it. St. Nicholas of Myra. Generosity. Christmas time, the season of giving, and it's emphasized. So that's my pain that I'm experiencing right now, because you all know I hate timing cards, especially when they're emphasized by the divine. But this is the season that we're in. And this is a time of giving, and it's a time of being generous. And right now for the two of you, it is emphasized that you really, really need to be generous to one another. An empty feeling is telling me something important. A negative feeling indicates that your current choice of thoughts is so out of harmony with your source energy that you are disallowing your full connection to that energy stream. You could say that your fuel tank is approaching empty. Your emotions do not create, but they do indicate what you are currently attracting. So this is what I talk about all the time. An empty feeling is telling me something important. This is how I talk about your emotions guiding you. And it is from Abraham Hicks that I learned this lesson. So it's no surprise that her deck is emphasizing this concept of the fuel tank approaching empty. And that is her analogy, or their analogy rather, when they talk about how, we act like our emotions are this huge deal that we need to numb and put aside and not feel, et cetera, et cetera. And instead, what they really are is just the gauge, the fuel gauge in our car that tells us how far we are, how close we are to our destination, how much gas we need to get there, et cetera. When your fuel tank is approaching empty, you feel an empty feeling, right? And you need to fill that up to get closer to where you want to be. Your emotions that you're having do not create. So if you're feeling depression, sadness, despair, that isn't creating. Your thoughts surrounding your emotions create, but the actual emotions are just a way for you to tell where your thoughts are and what you are creating. Divine couple, surrender to the divine, both of you. Surrender. As you surrender, you will come into physical union because it is the divine that is aligning you. And then finally, have you answered your deepest calling? You need to be in this warrior woman energy. You're fighting for the truth of this union to be revealed to you. And you know that your deepest calling reveals how to express these truths to one another. So be in this warrior energy for yourselves. Don't allow anyone to sway you. Don't allow anyone to make you feel less than or make you feel like you can't reveal these truths because they're somehow going to, cut you down. They're not. They're going to raise you up. Your deepest calling is to be honest with one another in your integrity. So surrender to the divine and allow this to happen and answer that deep calling you have to come into this union and finally see a return on this investment. We are at the end of the reading here. Thank you so much, Ash, for saying that. I think it's interesting that we get people coming into the chat that say really hateful things. It's kind of an interesting energy. I was thinking about this the other day because it was funny because it happened on the day that the divine masculine was trying to deal with his sexual energy. And on that day, my chat was taken over by a bunch of, one of them was even named perverted something, I don't know. And they were just writing all of this garbage that so much fit with the energy of divine masculine. And I had no idea how to moderate that yet. So I didn't know exactly how to hide the messages and they just kept coming. But I thought about it later and I was thinking about the type of individual that would come onto a live chat about anything really, but in this case, something pretty positive and in the light, and then need to be hateful. And it's so interesting that we have what kind of pain must that person be in that they would harass someone else and try to make them feel bad. And it's just an interesting aspect of the human condition that when we feel so much negativity, right? And it was funny because it came out around the time that I was about to pull an empty feeling is telling me something important. So that emptiness that person is in, that urge for them to express so negatively, that's a sign that's something very important that's going on for them. And the healing that I am sending that individual, I'm sure they're not ready for. But very interesting, very, very interesting. If you're interested in moderating my chat, actually, anyone, let me know and I can set you up as a moderator. So in case that happens, because I don't always see it, you can just hide them from the chat. And I'm sure that's just an aspect of YouTube Live, that you just get a bunch of random people with a lot of pain inside of them and a need to express it and to stir you up. And I want to know, like, what is the intent? Like, I almost want to talk to them and be like, what do you want me to say? Like, what's your goal? Very, very interesting. But all right, so today was kind of an interesting reading. Yesterday there was so much hope. We were at that point where we could see that sleigh, you know. And I think today we're seeing, I mean, Divine Masculine's ready to go. He's like, all right, I'm going to send messages. I know I need to make this choice to come out of my isolation and really send a message. And Divine Feminine is like, hey, I got to be comfortable in this silence on my own. I need to bring myself my own significant offer. I need to pick up my own sword and be brave and trust that I can overcome the pain that I've been in and use my intellect and knowledge that I've gained from that pain to build that bridge to get to where I need to be. Your heart is telling you that you've released this devil energy, you've released this Five of Pentacles energy, and it's time now to come into your new beginning. And that niggling feeling, Divine Feminine, is happiness and fulfillment and illumination. And when Divine Masculine breaks the silence with that Eight of Wands energy, which is buried now in the deck or under all my cards and I can't pick up now, but when he breaks the silence, you will have this illumination, you know? So this is very, very, very powerful. All right, everybody. Have a lovely day today and take care.